So I just love cinnamon. I don't know about you guys, but I just love it. I love cinnamon, and cinnamon to me makes me think of cinnamon and spice and apples and warm, cozy Christmas times, whether they are real or a figment of my imagination. They are there. They are there in the collective memory, and I like to invoke these cinnamon vibes. I like to invoke them at the snap of a finger. Snap of a finger. I can't wait to share these cinnamon scents with you today. If you like this kind of video, don't forget to like it before we get into it to let me know, and also drop down below what note you would like for me to cover in a future video. Feel free to upvote other people's suggestions. I really appreciate it. I always love to make content with you guys in mind. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get into it. Hi you guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you're new, hello and welcome. My name is Charlotte and I love fragrance. I love beauty and anything that has to do with the olfactory senses. If you have a passion for fragrance and beauty and you like to learn a little something along the way, don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I have a gourmand video coming out. I have a note specific video coming out. Please let me know if you have any special requests down below. So in our last note series, we talked all about amber. If you did not see that one already, watch it after this one. I'm so excited to share some cinnamon fragrances with you that I think will fit the bill for everyone. Okay, I have my heavy hitter cinnamon bombs in here. I have my more blended spices sort of cinnamons in here, and I have my more subdued, you don't necessarily know that there's cinnamon in there, but it gives a subtle warmth to the fragrance. I am going to start out with the more subtle cinnamons and move my way through the more heavy cinnamon and spice and everything nice kinds of scents that are honestly perfect for Christmas, perfect for the holiday times, perfect for that cozy winter feeling. So cinnamon, what does it smell like? Sweet, powdery, warm. It can be a standalone note in a fragrance, or it can be a supportive note in a fragrance. Cinnamon is often paired with other notes and other spices such as cloves, nutmeg, cardamom. I did want to go into a little bit of detail in cinnamon because you guys know I like to learn something along the way, along my journey, and share it with you guys and report back. And I actually did learn quite a bit when researching cinnamon. So there are predominantly two kinds of cinnamons that people use in the world. There is cassia cinnamon, which is predominantly found in Indonesia and China. This has a stronger and hotter sort of nuance. And then there is the very cherished Ceylon cinnamon, which is predominantly found in Sri Lanka and comes from a native tree in Sri Lanka actually. And this is a cinnamon that is a little bit lighter, brighter, and more citrusy. It's also rich in manganese and antioxidants. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but like if you go buy cinnamon, there's cinnamon and then there's Ceylon cinnamon. Well, the regular cinnamon is cassia cinnamon, and that cinnamon is actually poisonous in large doses. Coumarin, yes, like the note in perfumery. Coumarin is found in trace amounts in cassia cinnamon, which is toxic to your liver. And so the amount supposedly that you're not supposed to go over is 2 grams of cassia cinnamon per day. Now, 2 grams is a hell of a lot of cinnamon, so you're probably fine. But if you do care and you want to eat the good cinnamon, try going for the Ceylon cinnamon. That one actually may have some health benefits. And as for perfumery, cinnamon and true authentic cinnamon oil is actually a very expensive ingredient. So like the cinnamon bark that is used in oil, that's very expensive. Usually what is used instead are the twigs and the leaves of cinnamon. Cinnamon is actually a potential allergen and sensitizer, so true real cinnamon oil is not often used, and I think you're not supposed to use it anymore in perfumery. And I just wanted to share this tidbit, as you know I like to do, and this is a quote by Andy Tower, who is a perfumer, and he said, a forbidden fruit restricted by the EU and IFRA, sensitizing cinnamon potential allergen. So warm, metallic almost, spicy of course, gourmand, hitting the nose with memories of rice pudding with cinnamon sugar and making your saliva flow. I love to cook with cinnamon. It brings out the flavors of ginger, onions, adds warmth to the cocktail of exotic flavors from clove, pepper, cumin, fenugreek. In my perfumes, I love it, like a synthetic aldehyde, as it switches the light on, brings out the colors and contrasts. One fine day in perfumery heaven, we will all smell and enjoy cinnamon in heavy doses. Until then, we have to live with the regulations that we have. So there you go. I imagine that's why a lot of maybe our favorite cinnamon scents are no longer on the market. probably has something to do with it. I didn't know that much about cinnamon. So I hope that was interesting to you as well. Like this video if you thought this was interesting. I thought it was pretty interesting myself. So to give you a little bit of idea, background of what kind of cinnamons I consider to be like a perfect cinnamon scent, I have two OGs for me here, which are no longer really available, definitely not on the mainstream market. So I want to show you fragrances that you can still buy today. You will find links to all of these fragrances down below, except for these two that I'm showing you right now. Because of that, I do not want to highlight them too much, but I want to give you some reference. These are some of my favorite cinnamon scents. This is Organza Indécence by Givenchy. Organza Indécence is an amber woody fragrance that came out in 1999. Unfortunately, is discontinued, but it is a holy grail cinnamon vanilla Christmas type scent to me. And this is an original one from, you know, when it came out. This was actually my mom's and passed it on to me. And you guys, I wore this in high school and now I'm like, that's quite a mature, womanly, sexy scent for a teen girl. But yeah, this is definitely a Christmas scent. Absolutely. It's warm, spicy, cinnamon, very vanilla, very cinnamon. I do have a friend who thought it smelled kind of vintage, so I don't know. I don't find it smells vintage, but I guess maybe that's probably a good thing, right? I only recently realized that it is a woman's body. Like, I don't know why I only recently realized. If I could, I would buy this today, but it is no longer available. It is a one-of-a-kind vanilla spicy cinnamon fragrance. And the other one is Elle by Lolita Lempicka, and this is also a super beautiful warm spicy cinnamon vanilla that feels very incensey as well. Unfortunately discontinued. This is an amber vanilla that came out in 2006. Oh god, I shouldn't have done that. So Elle by Lolita Lempicka is a very warm, spicy, incensey, sweet sort of cinnamon. Very alluring, very like mysterious, very warming, very Christmassy. Definitely a Christmas scent, as some people like to call them, but it has that citrus in there, which is just as captivating to me. And I do have a replacement for this later on in the video. Not an exact dupe, but the closest I've ever come to so far. That said, let's get into the cinnamon fragrances. This is going to be a long video. I hope you have a good yummy coffee with you, or tea, or water, or you're comfortable, or you're working out, or what, because I have a lot of fragrances to share with you. So to start things off, the next fragrance that I absolutely love that has a light touch of cinnamon, and this is CH L'eau by Carolina Herrera. Herrera. I have such a hard time with the double R's next to the single R's. Herrera. Carolina Herrera. Okay, so CH L'eau. This is the old bottle, and as you can see, like it's basically empty. I used up the whole thing. You can still find this fragrance on the market, but it is in a new bottle, new formulation, I guess, so I don't know if it's exactly the same. This is a floral fragrance that came out in 2011. It has a lemon and citrus opening with a powdery sandalwood cinnamon dry down. And this is such a unique take on cinnamon to me because, first of all, the cinnamon is in the base notes, and oftentimes you'll find it in the top and middle notes, and it's a cinnamon sandalwood sort of dry down, and I love the dry down on this fragrance. The opening is very citrusy and it can be a little bit sharp, but the magic in this fragrance to me is the cinnamony, sandalwoody dry down. I really, really love it, and I am thinking of picking up the new bottle. We'll see, because I have a lot of fragrances I just recently added to my collection, but I really like this fragrance. This is a light cinnamon touch. This is a really, really great everyday kind of scent, and that is how I quickly went through it, actually, as I wore it every day for work, that kind of situation. I love this. And this is also a cinnamon that you can wear all year round, so it's not a Christmas type of cinnamon like for cold weather. This is one that you can wear in summer as well. The next fragrance I have to share with you is by Maison Louis Marie, and this is Numéro 4 Bois de Balincourt. This is a woody spicy fragrance that came out in 2014. This has such a beautiful, soft, powdery sort of vibe to it. It's a little bit earthy from the vetiver, and it definitely has that warm, spicy aspect from the cinnamon and Cinnamon and nutmeg, which to me I find in a lot of fragrances, it's my favorite duo. That cinnamon and nutmeg duo is just so good, so lovely. They go so perfectly well together, and I find it in a lot of my favorite cinnamon fragrances. The cinnamon is often paired with the nutmeg. This is one of those. It's so lovely, and this is one that I think if you are not a huge fan of cinnamon, you might still like, because the cinnamon in here is tame. It is not sharp, it is not super spicy. You wouldn't necessarily know it has cinnamon. It's still predominantly a sandalwood scent, but the cinnamon and nutmeg in here really give it a very beautiful warm touch to the sandalwood. This is an amazing scent for every day. This is an amazing scent for anyone who is scent sensitive or is in a scent sensitive environment. This is something that I wear when I know I'm going to be around people who are sensitive to scents. This is my go-to for that. I really enjoy pairing it with the perfume oil. I really like to pair these together. This just helps make the scent project a little bit more. It is a low projecting scent. This is not a loud beast mode scent, but it is a really beautiful skin scent that is long lasting, especially if you pair these together. The next fragrance I have to share with you is Lumière Blanche by Olfactive Studio. This is a woody spicy fragrance that came out in 2012. This is one that has a lot of spice. It has the cinnamon, but the cinnamon is not the star player. I would say the cardamom and the star anise are. So there's cardamom and star anise at the top with the cinnamon, which are quickly followed by almond milk and cashmere woods and a beautiful sandalwood. It's a very, very woody, powdery sort of scent. Warm, spicy, woody, powdery. Very comforting, very enveloping, with a sort of musky, sandalwoody dry down. Absolutely unisex, beautiful scent, all year round scent. This is a scent that both my boyfriend and I reach for. A great rainy day sort of scent, if you know what I mean. Comforting, powdery, but in that creamy powdery sort of way, with that almond milk and the iris and the cashmere wood. Super lovely. Equal parts spicy and woody though, so there's definitely that warm spicy aspect. The spiciness can be sharp to some people, but if you are a big spice fan and you also love sandalwood, you need to try this, especially if you also like a beautiful creamy powderiness from that iris and the almond milk. Lumière Blanche by Olfactive Studio. The next scent I have to share with you is by Montal, and this is my loved Vanille Absolu, and this is a very, very basic sort of vanilla, to be honest, but it has a beautiful, warm, spicy accord in it that is definitely thanks to the cinnamon and cloves in here. Yeah, sweet vanilla, a little bit spicy. It's a little bit like if you had a sweet, warm cup of milk and you added a little dash of cinnamon. It's not loud, the cinnamon. The cinnamon is just adding a beautiful, warm, slightly sweet, powdery touch to the creamy vanilla. Lovely. I do think that if you want a lot of cinnamon, this is not going to be enough cinnamon for you, but it is that beautiful, well-blended cinnamon into a vanilla. So if you don't like any sharp edges from a cinnamon, this is the cinnamon sort of fragrance for you. The next fragrance I have to share with you is by Mugler, and this is Alien Fusion. And this is a fragrance that I absolutely love, that I haven't talked on my channel before yet, I don't think. And it's a fragrance that I actually was influenced by Sal at Sally Marion. She loves this fragrance and raves about it, and I was already interested in it, so when she convinced me very easily. But oh my goodness, I'm smelling it now and I want to wear it now. This is such a beautiful, beautiful take on cinnamon to me, because it is a very light cinnamon touch that is used in an unconventional way. In this fragrance, it is there to add some warm, spicy powderiness to a creamy white floral vanilla scent. So this to me is so beautiful. This is so sexy. I love this scent. Alien Fusion is an amber floral that came out in 2019. The cinnamon is definitely overshadowed by the ginger in here. It's definitely a little bit more in the background. But again, if you don't want too much cinnamon, this is a great way to have a subtle dose of cinnamon in your fragrance. This cinnamon marries super well with the warm ginger, and the ginger with the orange blossom meld perfectly and seamlessly into the beautiful, creamy tuberose vanilla ambery dry down. I love this fragrance. One of my absolute favorites, and one of my favorite tuberose fragrances that also happens to have that amazing cinnamon, warm, spicy, powdery, sweet touch. Love it. You can still find it, thank goodness, but there are always rumors going out that this is being discontinued. I hope it's not. I know it probably will be. It seems to be an eventuality for all of these. Get it while you can. If you want a warm, spicy cinnamon sort of take on a creamy tuberose vanilla scent, check this out. I love this scent. Okay, the next fragrance I have to share with you is by Widian. I hope I'm saying it right. And this is Widian V. I'm honestly kind of confused about the name, you guys. Here it says AJ Arabia V, so 5. On Fragrantica it says 5V Widian, and all I see everywhere is Widian 5, black. Widian 5, so Widian 5, but here it says Arabia. Anyway, Widian 5 by Widian. This is the number 5 in the black bottle. And this is another white floral cinnamon scent. At first glance, upon looking at the notes, this looks like a epic gourmand, and it is a gourmand, but it is a more sophisticated, refined, sort of more mature sort of gourmand. So yeah, the cinnamon in here is not very sweet. The cinnamon is kind of spicy, a little bit sharp, with that peach and lemon opening. So yeah, this opens up with that spicy and citrusy sharpness. Personally, I like a opening like that, but I do think it can be too sharp for some people. Cinnamon and lemon. But as it dries down, it does get more sweet, it gets more caramel, it does get sweeter, it gets creamier, but it still stays a sort of dressed up gourmand. This is not a luscious, melt in your mouth, sticky, caramelized sort of gourmand. This is a refined, upscale sort of gourmand. And again, the cinnamon in this fragrance just adds a very warm, spicy, slightly sharp sort of characteristic to an otherwise maybe more creamy vanilla tuberose fragrance. In this fragrance, the cinnamon adds a lot of contrast to the other notes in the fragrance. So while this is not a cinnamon bomb, it definitely is a lot more present. The cinnamon is a lot more present than the aforementioned fragrances. We're getting a little bit more cinnamony and spicy. The next fragrance I have to share with you is by Alexandre J, and this is the Majestic Vanilla. And this is a very citrusy, ambery, warm, spicy cinnamon vanilla. This is definitely on the less sweet cinnamon sort of side. This is definitely very unisex. This would be an amazing scent on a man. This has a lot of labdanum in it also as well, so I do think it has a more animalic sort of touch. Similarly to the Widian 5, this has a strong citrus and warm spicy cinnamon opening. So in here, the cinnamon is not necessarily very gourmand. The cinnamon here is adding a sort of sharp, spicy touch to the fragrance. This is one that does get sweeter and more resinous and balsamic as it dries down, but the opening is that strong cinnamon and citrus opening. Lovely scent. This is relatively new in my collection, and I would love to hear more thoughts if you've smelled it before in the comments below. The next cinnamon fragrance I have to share with you is one of my favorites. We're starting to get into the heavier cinnamons here. This is by Xerjoff, and this is Bouque Ideale, and this is just such a beautiful, I swear, when it's so smooth and well blended that it smells creamy to me. This has that beautiful opening with the cinnamon and the nutmeg. I love that pairing. And this is also a equally very, very woody vanilla fragrance. And the woodiness in here is very palpable and far reaching. It has different sort of woody nuances, okay? So it has the Gaiac wood, which is a little bit more of a stronger, more robust sort of woodiness. It has the sandalwood, which is a beautiful, more creamy sort of woodiness. It has the Virginia cedar, which is a more traditional sort of woody to me. And it has the papyrus, which is sort of that papery sort of smell, like book smell. It does not smell like a bookshelf. It does not smell like a library, which I'm thankful for. It has the papyrus in the amount that I like in a fragrance, which is not too much. And this has a lot of cinnamon in it. I love it. But the cinnamon in here is not sharp. It is not too spicy or cloying. It is very soft. It is very enveloping. It is cozy. It is sweet. Very well blended. No sharp edges. I could easily wear this every day of the winter. Easily. Perfectly unisex, and yeah, really perfectly unisex. This would be stunning on a man, and I also feel amazing wearing it myself. One of my favorites. Bouque Ideale is an amber woody fragrance that came out in 2010. The next fragrance I have to share with you is by Rassasi, and this is La Yuqawam Femme. And this is a beautiful sort of more lactonic, spicy, creamy, powdery, smoky cinnamon. Let's find another spot. Yeah, the cinnamon in here is a little bit sharp, but it's really nicely tamed by the milk note in here. This is marketed towards women, but I absolutely think men can wear this too. This is definitely very unisex. The cinnamon in here is very present, but again, similar to the Bouque Ideale, it is very smooth, very creamy. This is a very beautiful, comforting sort of scent, especially to wear in the winter time. I definitely think this is a unisex scent as well. This is a warm, spicy, powdery sort of cinnamon that dries down to a beautiful, milky, creamy, musky sandalwood. It's lovely. Next up, one of my absolute favorites, yet again, this is by Prada, and this is Soleil ou Zenith. This is an amber spicy fragrance that came out in 2017. This is one of my absolute favorites. Similar to the one before, this one also is a very ylang-ylang sandalwood cinnamon sort of fragrance, but it is extremely smooth and creamy. It's one of the smoothest, most well-blended fragrances I've ever smelt, to be honest. This one has that beautiful combination of the cinnamon with the nutmeg, and it is all throughout the fragrance. It is in the base notes, but you just sense it through the whole fragrance. This does have some sweetness as well. I think this is an amazing unisex scent. This feels very mature, sexy, and refined to me. It has that beautiful sandalwood with the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the ylang ylang. If you love a very warm, spicy, but very smooth cinnamon with a good dose of vanilla in the dry down as well, this is an amazing one to look into. The next fragrance I have to share with you is one that has quickly become a favorite in my collection, and this is by Essential Parfum, or Essential Parfum, and this is Divine Vanille. And this here is such a beautifully, perfectly balanced cinnamon vanilla. This is an amber vanilla fragrance that came out in 2019, and this is just such a beautiful mix of vanilla, amber, and warm, spicy cinnamon all together. Absolutely unisex, definitely fits the Christmas vibe or fall vibes or warm, cozy vibes. Definitely great for every day. This is not a beast mode sort of scent. It's just beautiful. This one has that cinnamon in the opening. I just love it. It also has that incense in it, which to me is just, it's that similar sort of incensey vibe to Elle. Not at all a dupe, but that beautiful marriage of cinnamon, vanilla, and incense that I love, that is for some reason hard to find in that combination. I find like a lot of those are found, you know, individually, but in that perfect combination, this is really lovely. I've really been enjoying this fragrance. This is one of those fragrances that I find a little bit harder to find, but you can find it directly from the perfumer's website, which I've also linked down below. The next fragrance I have to share with you is one that I've recently fallen completely head over heels with, and I only have this decant here, but I am planning on buying a full bottle because I am that enamored with it, and this is Xerjoff's Naxos. This is an aromatic spicy fragrance that came out in 2015, and I've been on the edge before of almost blind buying this, and the only reason I didn't was because I was afraid it would be too masculine for me. And usually I would think, oh, okay, it's okay, I can just pass it off to my boyfriend, but my partner doesn't necessarily like those spicy, intense sort of scents, so I wanted to make sure that I enjoyed it myself. So I got the decant, and you guys, this is so amazing. This is so good. This is the most smooth, perfect, creamy, powdery cinnamon with equal parts vanilla and tobacco. This also has honey in it to sweeten it up, and it also has the lavender in here, which I just think adds an aromatic touch that is just so beautiful. This scent just feels very, very full to me without being overbearing. It's so beautiful. I think this is sexy. I think this is mysterious, intriguing. This is a confident scent as well, without being overbearing, like I said, which is kind of hard to find sometimes, you know? Like, this just does it all for me. Naxos by Xerjoff, I'm completely enamored with, and I cannot wait to get the full bottle because this is amazing. Performance is very good. It's not as loud as you might think for a Xerjoff, but I'm okay with that. I love the cozy scent trail that it leaves. The next fragrance I have to share with you is one that started out as a decant. I went through it, and so I bought the full bottle. By Xerjoff. Again, this is from the Casamarati line. This is Lira, and this is a fragrance that I find can take the place of Elle by Lolita Lempicka. And while they are not at all dupes quite, this one doesn't have that incensey sort of herbal edge to it. They do have a lot of similarities, and it does fit the bill for me. So what they have in common is that this has an intoxicating citrusy opening combined with the cinnamon vanilla, which is what I really, really love. It's very feminine to me. The heavy dose of vanilla makes it more feminine to me. Some people have compared the scent to a lemon cheesecake sort of scent, and I think that that's actually pretty uncanny. Like that's a pretty good description, lemon cheesecake. That might give you an idea of whether you'll like it or not, because I love that opening. That citrus opening to me is part of why I love the fragrance. So it's not like, oh, I get over it and then I love the dry down. No, it's like I love the entire fragrance, and to me it's just as important to like that citrus opening as the more gourmand vanilla caramel sort of dry down to this. It's a blood orange opening, and I love it. It's just like the Lolita Lempicka opening, which has that very strong bitter orange opening. It's similar to that. It is juicy, it is bright. This also has some lavender in it. I don't know if it's a coincidence that I just love that lavender cinnamon combo as well. It just seems to go really well together. This is another fragrance that I just feel like is fleshed out enough for me to really appreciate it. It is gourmand, but it has the lavender, it has the cinnamon, which adds the spiciness, it has a little bit of licorice, which makes the gourmandness edge a little bit less juvenile to me and a little bit more complex, a little bit deeper, a little bit more interesting. This is going to be one of my favorite fragrances. I can already tell, because again, I went through the decant and I was very careful with the decant because I knew right away that I wanted more than just this decant. So yeah, amazing fragrance. Again, if you want a more sweet gourmand sort of cinnamon, but that has other stuff going on in it. It's not just cinnamon, but it's definitely gourmand. Lovely fragrance. The next fragrance I have to share with you is by Kayali, and this is Invite Only Amber 23. Now this is not a standalone cinnamon fragrance, but this absolutely evokes the cinnamon vibe to the max. This is mainly a cherry, tobacco, honey, cinnamon, chocolate, gourmand, amber sort of fragrance, but the cinnamon in here is definitely very present and you smell it right away. But again, it's that beautiful, sweetened, powdery, festive sort of cinnamon in here. Very enveloping, perfect for the cold weather. And speaking of cinnamon, they specify in this one that this is Ceylon cinnamon. This has a lot of cinnamon in it, and it's supposed to be the like good quality cinnamon. So, you know, I don't know the details behind the scenes, but I love this. I love this. One of the best cinnamon scents you can get. Absolutely unisex, but definitely leans feminine to me. I just love this fragrance by Kayali, Invite Only Amber 23. The next fragrance I have to share with you is a cinnamon heavy hitter, and this is by Atelier des Arts, and this is Lune Feline. This is absolutely intoxicating. Now, this is absolutely equal parts cardamom, and the warm spiciness of this fragrance is absolutely well balanced with the beautiful balsamic vanilla dry down. It's amazing. It's absolutely intoxicating. This definitely feels like a more old school fragrance, not in the sense that it smells dated at all, but that it has something a little bit more voluptuous to it. Similarly to, for example, where is it? Right in front of me. Okay, similarly to Givenchy, Indécence, Organza. They're not at all dupes, okay? Not at all, okay? But I just mean it has something to it that feels like it could have been from the 90s to me. It doesn't smell dated at all, so I don't want you to get that impression from it. But it's more of like a compliment. It feels like one of those that stood the test of time sort of fragrances, like that I could have smelled in the 90s that I would still like today, you know, if you know what I mean. Amazing fragrance for the winter time, for very cold weather. This shines in the very cold weather, absolutely. The opening is absolutely more of that warm, spicy, sharp sort of spiciness, but it definitely gets toned down. It gets creamier, more powdery. It gets sweeter with the vanilla that comes through, and it stays very, very balsamic and powdery all throughout as well, and resinous. Very, very lovely. A grown-up, warm, spicy cardamom and cinnamon vanilla scent. Next up, we have a fragrance by Serge Lutens, or Serge Lutens? Serge, Serge Lutens. Serge Lutin? Serge Lutin? Serge Lutens. Serge Lutens. And this here is a fragrance that's actually quite similar, not the same, similar to Soleil au Zenith by Prada. I tend to prefer this one, but this one can sometimes be harder to find. I think this is a great alternative. And this is Feminite du Bois. This is an amber woody fragrance that came out in 2009. And this is a very warm, spicy, woody, slightly fruity from the plum. There's plum in this. Fruity, powdery, sweet, sort of cinnamon. This could be a Christmas scent for sure. This has cinnamon and plum at the top. It's also very woody from the cedar in here. This also has some cloves and ginger adding to the warm spiciness alongside the cinnamon. And this is just a very, very beautiful, lovely winter scent. Again, perfect for the cold weather. This could absolutely be a unisex scent as well. I think this is marketed towards women, I believe, but this could absolutely be worn by a man as well. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. I definitely think that if you love a warm, spicy, sandalwoody sort of fragrance for the fall and winter time, this is a great choice. The next fragrance I have to share with you is by Kilian, and this is Angel's Share. And this is a fragrance, you guys, that I just finally bought at the Sephora VIB sale after my lovely friend Mohaima from Scented Lifestyle passed along a sample to me. I fell in love and I made up my mind that it was definitely going in the cart during the VIB sale. Let me know down below, what did you get? I want to know, what did you get during the VIB sale? But oh my god, this is a sweet, woody, gourmand sort of cinnamon vanilla bomb. This has cognac at the top, so it's definitely very boozy as well, but it's also still very sweet. Angel's Share by Kilian is an amber vanilla fragrance that came out in 2020, and I don't know what it is about this. I think it's the oak note, but for some reason I smell cinnamon, like spiced apples, like warm spiced apples, sweet, warm, caramelized, spiced apples. It's intoxicating to me. Now, I don't know why I get the apple. You know what? It must be the cognac. It must be the cognac. Yeah, which is awesome because I was actually kind of scared of the booziness or the boozy facet of this fragrance. I didn't want it to be too boozy, but there you go. The cognac in here totally evokes like spiced apples to me, like spiced fruity apples. It's just lovely. Like if I had not known, like if you had told me that there was apple in here with cinnamon, I would have thought there were apples in here. Let me know down below if you get that too. But there you go. Angel's Share by Kilian. Love this fragrance. If you want to treat yourself, this is not cheap, but you want a beautiful Christmas scent that's boozy, super cinnamony, heavy dose of cinnamon, but also heavy dose of that vanilla and praline lactonic touch, gourmand touch. Angel's Share by Kilian. The last two fragrances I have to share with you are also relatively new on the market. First we have by Skylar, which is a clean fragrance company, and this is Fall Cashmere. And this to me is a very big cinnamon bomb. Like this is, the first time I smelled this, I was like, this smells like a cinnamon, like a fall cinnamon candle, which was not necessarily a compliment, okay? But I don't get that anymore. I love it now. It was the first time that I smelled it that I got that candle vibe from it, and I've never described a fragrance as having a candle vibe, but I got it with this one at the beginning. And I know I'm not the only one because I have since checked some reviews and I have heard that other people get that from it. But you guys, this is so lovely. If you don't mind that little candle edge that may come out, it's an interpretation. It's not because it smells plasticky or anything like that or waxy or anything like that. It's just because it smells like the perfect spice bowl, potpourri, like potpourri style. This has cinnamon in it. It also has candied ginger. So the warm spiciness also comes from the ginger. It also has almonds in it. And I think it's like caramelized or candied almonds. And so it does have a gourmand touch. It does have a more creamy, powdery sort of dry down to it. And I just think that this is a very, very easy reach for anyone who really likes a cinnamon dominant sort of fragrance. This is cinnamon, but it's still sweet. It's still cozy. It's still feminine. Fall Cashmere by Skylar. Fall Cashmere came out in 2021, and I would categorize it as an amber spicy fragrance or a woody spicy fragrance. I'm not sure, there is no categorization yet on Fragrantica. That's how I would categorize it. And last but certainly not least, we have Bee by Ellis Brooklyn, and this is an amber vanilla fragrance that came out in 2021, so this is a new fragrance on the market. And I love this, you guys. This is a cinnamon balm gourmand. Cinnamon and honey. Cinnamon, rum, and honey. And this is boozy, but it's still very, very sweet. You do need to like the sweetness. This is a very sweet cinnamon balm, okay? This has rum in it to give it a boozy touch, but it also has a lot of honey and cinnamon in it. It also has a beautiful gourmand vanilla, cacao, and sandalwood dry down, enveloping cozy fragrance. Absolutely perfect for the winter time. Definitely one of my favorites these days. I wear this a lot, and you will probably see it in my most worn videos coming up. Please let me know down below what your favorite cinnamon fragrance is. If there's any cinnamon fragrance that you think I need to try, I would love to know. Share the info for all of us. If you enjoyed this video today, if you learned something new today, if you found a fragrance that intrigued you, please like this video before leaving. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I am so grateful for you guys. I hope that you have a wonderful day or evening. Remember, take care of yourself. I'll see you very soon. Bye.